Hey folks, welcome back to the mill. My name's Pat East. I'm the executive director here, and I want to thank you in advance for watching this video. It ensures that the building will be as safe as possible for when all of our members and guests return. We made some improvements to the building to mitigate contracting COVID, but the biggest factor will be you and your behaviors. So that's why it's important for you to watch this video, but also for me to communicate to you how COVID is contracted in the first place. You can kind of run through all of the various changes we've made by understanding really how COVID's contracted and how we're doing everything we can to prevent that. So COVID or COVID-19 is the disease that you get from coronavirus. Coronavirus is contracted through spittle, which is the expulsion of saliva when you talk, and so that's why it's important to stay 6 feet away from people, because that's about how far spittle can travel when somebody talks. And so, based upon gravity and the size of spittle, scientists know that 6 feet is about when the coronavirus actually falls to the ground. It's also contracted through touching common area surface where coronavirus exists. So if you do happen to touch a common surface, while we'll be disinfecting those on a regular basis, if you do happen to touch a common surface, make sure you don't touch your face. And by touching your face, I mean your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. That's where coronavirus can actually enter your body. It enters through the mucous membrane in those areas. So if you do happen to touch a common surface, wash your hands after that for 20 seconds. That actually not only kills the coronavirus, but it makes your hands slick enough so that the water and soap actually flush it down the sink. So those are the main ways to get coronavirus. And as you kind of go through this video, you'll see that everything we've done really harkens back to those two things to make sure that we're mitigating those as much as possible. So let's start off with the phases of reopening and access to the building. So we're going to do it in 3 phases, just like the state of Indiana is reopening in phases. So June 1st, members who work in private offices and designated desks will be able to work at the mill. Building capacity will be much less than 50%. Phase 2 is a week later. So that's when all full-time and part-time members can access the mill. Building capacity will still be less than 50%. And phase 3 is another week later. That's June 15th. Members, visitors, and guests will all be allowed. So the building capacity at that point will be somewhere between 50 and 100%. So before returning to the mill, you'll need to obviously watch this video, which you're doing right now. You'll need to read all of the new rules of engagement. So this is specifically for COVID-19. So that should be in the email as well. And you'll need to sign, accept, and the acknowledgement and waiver that you have actually done these things. Before coming in each day, you need to self-monitor. So this is one of the big areas where we need to rely on you as members to keep yourself safe and keep everybody else safe. So the self-monitoring includes, obviously, if you're sick, you need to stay home, even if you don't think it is coronavirus related. If you've got a cough, or you've got chills, or your muscle aches, or you're tired, you need to stay home. Certainly if you have a temperature of more than 100 degrees, you need to stay home. And you can come back after you have a temperature after 24 hours, assuming you haven't taken any Tylenol or any medicine to lower your temperature artificially. We'll also have a contactless forehead thermometer here too at the mill. So if you need to use that, you feel like you may be sick or during the day, then you can use that as well. Working at the mill, so you'll notice a handful of things that are going to be different when you come in. So first, all of the doors are going to be locked 24/7. You'll still have use of your digital keys, but you'll need to use your digital keys to be able to enter the building. This ensures that we have a record of everybody who enters the building. We also have our Nest cameras pointed at each entrance. This ensures that we have a backup to our records in case we need to do contact tracing. And of course, when you enter the building, wash your hands, or there will be hand sanitizer stations in each building. And it's important to note that hand sanitizer won't kill the coronavirus. It doesn't kill any virus, right? But what it does do is it actually breaks the envelope that the coronavirus lives in and dries it out so that ultimately the coronavirus is actually killed. Wash your hands if you can, but that's always going to be the 100% best method. But if you can't, there are hand sanitizer stations everywhere. You'll notice we've installed touchless faucets in all of our bathrooms. We've also installed UV light in our HVAC system. So the UV light actually kills viruses and bacteria. So this will be great during flu season, not just for coronavirus. This was the number one thing that members requested on the survey form that we sent to everybody. So air quality, making sure that folks were breathing as fresh and clean air as possible, what was definitely at the top of the list. So we made sure to include that improvement. And you'll notice partitions everywhere. So particularly around the areas where there's walkways in the main room, we've created partitions so that the folks sitting at those desks feel safer. So when people do walk by and invariably breathe, they don't feel like they're getting breathed on. Wear a mask when you're not at your desk. So this is going to be the one key thing, or among many, it's going to be one of the key things that everybody can do to make sure that the building and environment is safe. If you're not comfortable wearing a mask when you're not at your desk, we certainly understand that. At some point, the mill won't require face masks, and so at that point, we invite you to return if you don't feel comfortable wearing a face mask inside the building when you're not at your desk. There's going to be sanitizing stations located throughout the building. Use that before and after you sit down. So that belt and suspender will just ensure that the coronavirus is killed and that there's no contracting from person to person on common surfaces. The floors have all been marked with arrows to indicate 6 feet spacing around workspaces and one-way flow of traffic. We understand this is probably going to make you take a longer route than what you normally would in some cases. And it's going to force you to do that. And we ask for the safety of everybody that you make that sacrifice for the common community. Bring dishes to reduce cross-contamination. So for the first at least couple of weeks, maybe the first month or so, we'll let you know exactly the time frame. Bring dishes to reduce cross-contamination. And coffee won't be available in the kitchen either. Too many hands on the coffee pot creates too much risk. All the bathrooms will be single occupant. So what that means is you just need to knock before entering the multi-stall bathrooms. If you don't want to do that, there are 2 bathrooms downstairs in the event hall that are single occupant only. All the conference rooms are going to have maximum capacities. They'll be posted on the conference room, so you'll understand how many people can be in those. Same thing for the restaurant booths. There'll be a maximum capacity there. The classroom and event hall will be set up with additional workspaces so that people can social distance inside. You'll hear me and the rest of the staff periodically yell out safety check just to make sure that we're creating an environment of shared concern for everyone's health. We also want to make sure that we're not just catching people when they're doing something quote unquote bad. We want to make sure we catch them when they're doing the right behaviors too. So hear us yell safety check both when we see good things and when we see behaviors that we're not expecting. So that's it. That's the video orientation for me on the mill. I appreciate you taking the time to sit through all this. I know some of this seems like old hat, But also, I think it's important to note that, if all of this were old hat, we would have only had stay in place for 2 weeks. Everybody would have done it. The coronavirus would have ran its course because the incubation period is only 2 to 14 days, and we would all be back to pre-coronavirus. So some of the things you hear in here may be old hat to you, may be common sense, but they're not common sense to everybody. So again, thank you for watching the entire video. Please do your part and just to keep the mill safe and to keep everybody happy and as healthy as possible. All right, I'll see you soon, hopefully on June 1st. Bye.